Podcasting from somewhere in the San Francisco Bay Area, the birthplace of Bruce Lee, the iPhone, and the bendy straw. This is Ruel's Running Podcast, a podcast about running, health, family, play, and an NSNG lifestyle. And now, here's your host, Ruel.
There was a dream a million miles away. There was fire in
Amazon.com. You know, I won't be surprised if more and more stuff that I shop for, buy, and get shipped to my home comes from Amazon. It's just a reality, right? And if this is your reality, go to ruelsrunning.com, click through to the Amazon banner to get to Amazon. Why am I asking you to do so? Well, it is a no-cost-to-you way. If you like listening to Ruel's Running Podcast, it is a way that you can help the show out without spending more than you've already spent while shopping at the good folks at Amazon.com. So help us out. Go to ruelsrunning.com, click through to the Amazon.com site, and shop, connect, and enjoy.
Hey everybody, yeah. Oh, that is Care of the Dog by Nazareth. All I know is the dog, right? And I know that it's a son of a bitch. And that's how I'm feeling. I'm not feeling like a dog, but I'm sick as a dog. And it's a son of a bitch. Yeah. And Guns N' Roses did a version of that, if I'm not mistaken. I love that version as well. But this one's the original version, as far as I know, from Nazareth. How's everybody doing? You guys, I'm over the hump, but my voice is still maturing. And yeah, we're just gonna have to go with what we got. How's everybody doing? I'm your host, Ruel Abadam. I'm glad you're here. If you are a return listener, welcome back. If you are a new listener, welcome to the show. Hope you stick around. Hope you check out the old podcast as well. See how the show has evolved over time. And there's some good and there's some bad and there's some really ugly stuff. But I think it's still worth a listen. And I'm biased. All right. So we are gathered here today. No, just wanted to say that as a couple of announcements, I'm still looking for music. So as you can tell, I'm trying to find new ways to integrate additional tunes into the episodes, just to break up the routine. Also to test out some new ways of doing things. I know when I started out the podcast, I did a lot of fun stuff, but a lot of the fun stuff with the various audios, it was time consuming in its own way, and I used different tools at the time, and so I'm just playing with other ideas. So that's what's up, and I am looking for music. Again, you can let me know by calling me at 650-MUGRUEL. Leave me a message. You could also leave a message on SpeakPipe on the website, ruelsrunning.com. And if you happen to know somebody, or if you happen to be the person who has some free use music that you would allow me to use on the podcast time to time, and to also promote the music, that would be awesome. I'd be happy to do that. And what else? I want to give a shout out to all of the listeners who also click through the Amazon link on the website and make the purchases there through the Amazon affiliate program. Those little commissions that happen through your purchases using the Amazon link on the website, which is amazon.com/Ruel's Running, if I'm not mistaken. And I actually haven't spoken out or uttered the URL in a while, so that could be totally wrong. I guess I should look that up. But on the website, there's a link to the there's an Amazon banner. If you click through that, save that bookmark, and when you do your Amazon purchases, there's going to be a commission based on your purchases. Not an additional cost to you, but a little something that definitely does help the show out. And with the holidays rolling around and gift buying and more gift buying happening in addition to your regular purchases, those add up, and they definitely do help the show. So much appreciated, and want to give a shout out again to the listeners who participate in that and help out the show. Awesome. Let's get right to it. What's cooking, y'all? Last episode I talked about having come off of a trip and having to kind of stow away all of the good meal prep so that upon the return of the long trip we wouldn't have anything wasted. And enough time has passed where those have been consumed and a new batch of cooking has had to have happened. And I basically most of the meal prep happens because I want my wife needs to take food for lunch. She's on a cleaner eating regimen, so we cook stuff at home, and it saves her from having to buy stuff out with coworkers or just make last minute and often not the healthiest choices because of being last minute. So she packs stuff, takes it to work, and it's the stuff that we cook at home. And so after consuming all of the leftovers and kind of getting sick and tired of the leftovers, I just went to a market, picked up the smallest pork roast I could get, and also get a free range whole chicken. And since we are currently rocking 2 Instant Pots at home, not as a brag, but yes, it's a brag. We have the big Instant Pot, and we have the next size down. And it isn't because we are wealthy to have it. It's just that one day when Prime Day was the thing, we scored the big behemoth of an Instant Pot on a smoking deal. And then the following week, we met up with some friends who gifted us. Is there an echo? Who gifted us the second one, and so it's awesome. And because we're outfitted that way, I was able to get a batch of pulled pork on one Instant Pot and a batch of rotisserie chicken on the other, rolling in the same evening, and ready by the next morning for my wife to take to lunch. Not the whole stuff, but a little of each, and so that's awesome. And here's the thing about the Instant Pot, and the Instant Pot isn't a sponsor of the show, but an Instant Pot definitely is something you can order on Amazon. And again, if you choose to go to Amazon, I encourage you to use the Amazon link on RER182.com. So click through and then do your Instant Pot purchase there. But here's the thing about the Instant Pot that we really, really love is that the insert is stainless steel. And the good thing about that versus, say, we once had a slow cooker with a aluminum insert, and when we had that aluminum insert slow cooker, we put it through a lot of work when we did the bone broth. And man, we would do a batch of bone broth, and it would take a long time, like overnight, for the bone broth to be done. But then we would over the week we would have it turned off, and then we would turn it back on to warm, and then off throughout the week, keeping it sort of churning on and off. And what that does is the brand, I'm trying to remember what the brand was. The brand of slow cooker with the aluminum non-stick insert, that it bubbled up it so many ways, and I would constantly seek out a replacement like a free replacement from the manufacturer. And every time I got a replacement, it just felt like the replacements were sub quality from the original, which meant that they bubbled up faster and more often. So, we did use it a lot. So maybe it wasn't meant to be used as often as it did, but it's just goes to show that that the stainless steel won't have that problem, and stainless steel that occurs with that you can get from an Instant Pot. And even on a conventional slow cooker, if you use the ceramic insert, we've rolled with ceramic inserts as well, and we've got it to a point where they were used so much that they would have like hairline cracks along the surface of the finish, and that's not good. So we beat up our share of slow cookers, and it's all because of wanting to be able to have some good healthy broth and slow cooked meals. Anyways, so the Instant Pot doesn't have that problem, and I could take say the bigger Instant Pot. I can take the insert out with food in it that's already sort of cool down to room temp. I could take a lid. It'll take like the standard, 10-inch pan, 12-inch pan. I'm not even sure what the standard size is of a pan or skillet. Basically, it's our biggest pan, and the lid on that will fit the top of the Instant Pot insert. It would be its own cover, and then I could just stick that whole thing in the fridge. And because the liner itself is stainless steel, it'll cool. It'll keep it'll cool better, and it'll cool the food better, and it'll preserve it better. That's my understanding, versus say plastics. And that's that's the other thing too is, avoiding certain plastics is a good thing too when you're having it contact your food. So yeah, I love it. We love it. When the Instant Pot cools down to room temp, I could just take all the inserts, stick them in the fridge. If I don't have a lid for something, I could just slide some aluminum foil over the top. Boom. And then if I need to use the Instant Pot for other stuff, then I'll transfer onto separate containers and for storage. It's awesome. So what was cooking? The pulled pork and the rotisserie chicken, and I've talked about those recipes before. They're essentially the same thing, where with the pulled pork, I'm just seasoning it up with salt and pepper and a little bit of paprika. And what I did was, with the Instant Pot, I'll turn on the heat, and I'll put a little bit of bacon grease inside the insert, and then I'll brown the roast all around. And then once it's all brown, I'll throw in some chopped onions on top. Depending on the size of your roast, this was a small cut, so I used a half cup of broth, and then I switched the settings and cooked it on high with the pressure seal valve closed, and I let that thing go for 45 minutes. And then let it depressurize naturally and stay on warm setting overnight, so it was all nice and good. All that was needed to do was break it all up with a fork and stuff, and keep the juices in place, keep it all nice and tender. And then with the rotisserie chicken, it just take out the giblets. I kept the for some reason this particular bird had 2 necks. What? So this apparently was a 2-headed chicken, free range, and I kept the necks, and but I haven't figured out any good way to use the giblets, so I just tossed them, put them in the green cart. I didn't want to figure it out. I used to stick the giblets in with the slow cooker and the bird, but I found that I couldn't eat the giblets. It just got too tough, even if it was slow cooked. And I even tried putting the giblets in with like some bone broth and stuff, but it just made the bone broth gamier than my wife could stand. So I just don't want to ruin a whole batch of broth for her by putting giblets in there. That's just all experimentation. But take the bird, season up, salt, pepper, garlic powder, paprika. The paprika is I go easy on it now because I like a little bit of the smoky taste that comes from it, but I don't overdo it, because I used to think if I add more, it'll give it that nice color on the bird, on the skin when it crisps up, because I want to brown it all around. After I put all the seasoning, I'll do the same thing. I'll put a little bacon grease in the Instant Pot, and then I'll brown the outside, one side of the bird, flip it over, brown the other side. I'll pull the bird out, and then I'll put the trivet in place, put the bird in on top of the trivet, then I'll put in I'll throw in the necks, then I'll throw in a cup of bone broth, and then I'll basically cook it in the Instant Pot in the same fashion. I'll let it go like same thing, about 45 minutes on high with the pressure valve closed. And what I also do is I do stuff the bird with onions and sliced lemon, and I'll take a toothpick and I'll seal up the cavity so that while it cooks, none of that stuff sort of falls out. I just like it to stay in there until I'm ready to eat it. Same kind of process, and that comes out nice. It's done the next morning. And that's what was cooking. Awesome. Let me know what you're cooking. Let me know.
Coming up, Rue gives us something else to think about. How vague is that, Ruel? Geez. Could you be any vaguer, Ruel? Well, it's all coming up on Ruel's Running. Okay, the book is called Eat Happy, Gluten-Free, Grain-Free, Low-Carb Recipes for a Joyful Life by me, Anna Vicino. Eat Happy has 154 delicious grain-free, gluten-free recipes that are also free of any processed sugars. There are meats, fish, sides, soup, starters, casseroles, slow cooker recipes, breakfast dishes, and even desserts to satisfy any sweets craving you might have, all with virtually no sugar. If you are low-carb, paleo, are wanting to keep autoimmune issues at bay, or just want to lose extra weight, Eat Happy gives you comfort food where you won't miss the sugars or grains, so your body and brain can feel happy from eating real food. Okay, go get it then. Now's your chance. Yay! Yay!
I'm moving right along. Talk about family. Last time I talk about a sort of like handling a school situation as it pertained to what I described as and felt as my son being bullied, and I hope you got a chance to listen to that episode. If you haven't, check it out. If you know somebody who could benefit from that information, share the podcast with them, because it wasn't something that I was able to figure out on my own. I needed to consult friends on how to approach it, and put a little twist on it, and did what I did, and it was all described in that past episode called "The Bully in School." I have more to say on the topic of bullies, but I'll file that away, and we'll talk about it in future episodes. And I just want to talk about some family time. Talked about having gone to Disneyland for the Thanksgiving week, and there was a lot of activity, and it's fun. We've been going pretty often this year, only because we were trying to take advantage of our one and only time we've been members on the annual pass. We felt when we got those passes, it was the best time, because the kids were getting old enough where they had they can have their own interest at the park, and they were old enough to appreciate having gone, and and they're old enough too that we don't have to worry about things like nap time and having the fussiest of fussy kids. So, it's good. But we're not going to renew. We don't think so, because it's just, we need a break. We want to take advantage of what we've paid and then don't do it again, and see what else we can get into as a family. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. And we're gonna be doing it again. In December, towards the end of the year, and then that'll wrap it all up, and we'll be done. Who knows? We'll be able to do the Disneyland thing again. But we'll see. So for this past trip in November, we left the park but before on our way home, we had to do some couple stops in the LA area, and in one place was a restaurant, bake shop. I don't know how to classify it, but it was because we wanted to pick up some dessert for the following day, which was going to be Thanksgiving. We wanted to take dessert over to my sister-in-law's, because that's where we were going to spend the Thanksgiving day. So we were at this place. They have a parking lot in the back of their building, and they max out. I'm pretty sure they max out the parking lot configuration so that they can fit as many cars as they can, which meant it was pretty tight. And the business does pretty good that they've got a lot of traffic, and which means there's a lot of cars just kind of snaking through the parking lot looking for that opportunity to find for an open spot. And they even have valet folks in between the little rows to help folks just park their cars. We get there. We managed to find parking. The way we negotiated it was, we pulled in sort of the drive-through. My wife hopped out so that she can do whatever she needed to do, and I just took myself and the kids in the van into the parking lot and just patiently waited, looked for an open spot and found one, and we waited. We waited in the van, and and it's cool, just waiting. Kids are having fun, just hanging out, watching a DVD or something. I'm just probably staring at my phone or something. And then, then the van gets bumped, and it's that familiar bump of, somebody just tagged us with their vehicle. And I look over, and there's a Toyota Camry pulling into the spot to the left of us, and it was an older woman driving the vehicle. She was trying to just do her best to get into the parking spot, but along that process, the right corner of her vehicle hit the rear side behind the left rear wheel, and dented the van. And so she couldn't tell what she had done, because visibility was tough for her in that position, and she would it was a tight spot to begin with, not just the spot but the whole parking lot. So I come out and I inspect the damage, and then she comes out and then she tries to figure out how much damage there was as well. And she's like, so what do we do? And I'm like, well, I'm going to get your information, then I'm going to call the cops. Right? And she gets really nervous, and it wasn't my intent to scare the daylights out of an older woman. It was a reaction, because I heard from somewhere that when you file a claim with the insurance company, that they tend to pay attention. They tend to take claims, put them on top of the list that have an associated police report with it. That's the information I was going off of. So the first thing I thought about was I'm going to call the cops and get a police report filed as well. And I got all our information, and as I got through that and got to know the driver a little bit better. She's a grandmother. She was there to pick up something for her grandson's birthday, and she was there previously, but she came back a second time because she forgot her credit card, right? And I'm not a bully, and I told her, don't worry, I'm not going to call the police. That's just my first thought. I thought that needed to happen, but I seem to have everything I need, so that we can just let the insurance companies handle it. So don't stress. Happy birthday to your grandson. She was nice too. She wasn't like, she was just really nice, and there was no reason for me to be mean or anything. She even was like saying hi to my kids. She was really concerned, because, she's never, it looked like she was never in a situation before. And it was real, thank goodness it was just, in a parking lot. It wasn't like we were driving at, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 miles per hour type situations. And I said, no one's hurt. This was an accident. No one's trying to be dishonest here. But she did call her husband to let him know, and she was so nervous. I could hear her talking to her husband. She said, there's kids in the car. Oh my God, and he's going to call the police. Is there anything you can do? Can you come over and maybe give him some money? I'm like, and she handed the phone over to me. I'm like, I'm not going to call the cops. Everything's going to be okay. She doesn't have to worry. Everyone's fine. It's just a little, the vehicle is drivable. Her vehicle is drivable. Just let the insurance companies handle it. I have all I need. I took pictures of all of her registration. I didn't need her registration, but she mistook that as her insurance card. I took a picture of that, and her insurance cards, and her driver's license, all in front and back. Took a picture of my vehicle, her vehicle, where it contacted my vehicle. Took a picture of the positioning of the vehicles when they were both parked, so they can see who was on the left, who was on the right. Took pictures of the other driver, standing by the vehicles. So I had pictures of like that she had a visor, she was wearing shorts and low-cut socks and all that stuff. So all information, if I needed, I could share with the insurance company and stuff. So and there would be no way that the other party can deny that they were there. So yeah, it was like I was already pretty beat up and exhausted from the Disneyland trip. And just trying to be as careful and do what I need to do as a dad, as a parent, as a husband, and as an adult. Make sure that everybody's safe, and just doing what we got to do as a family. And then for something like this to happen, even though nobody got hurt, and it wasn't like pretty damaging to the function of the vehicle, it bothered me. After we left, and I was on the phone with the insurance company just to get the claim started right away, because it was going to be, we're going to be in December, and don't want to hold things off. It's just, there was that kind of a sick feeling, that it's just yes, everyone's safe, but man, I really just left them feeling like maybe what if we just didn't go to this place, and then everything would be fine. But I don't know. I was just kind of going through this weird, funky mindset. But I think what it has to do is just knowing that I'd have to call the insurance company. They'd have to get a statement from me. They'd have to call the other party, and hopefully they would be available. Get a statement from them. Get them to admit liability, and then open up a claim on the other insurance company's side, and and then go through the estimate process and getting a rental. All of that stuff I knew that was going to happen. I just feel like, I'm just kind of beat up and exhausted right now, and I know that all that stuff has to happen. It's like just that I just don't need any more stuff to do right now. I just want to relax. But it is what it is, and fortunately, the other party was contacted, was reachable, and they admitted liability. So, I have all that stuff already in place where now I'm just scheduled to take the vehicle in next week and get a rental, and then they can get the job done probably within a week's time, and then get my vehicle back and then go with that. So that's that. That's actually that's family. That's family. That's what I'm sticking with today. This episode for family. So yeah, be careful out there, folks. It can happen anywhere. You can be the most careful and cautious, but then there could be that somebody else out there who is also trying to be as careful and cautious, but still stuff can happen. So yeah. Again, on the health side, I am still over the hump. Today would mark, I guess, maybe the 7th day, the final day from falling sick, if you will. And just last night I started taking some over-the-counter medication, and I don't get sick that often to be used to being sick, and I don't get sick that often to remember that, I could use over-the-counter medication for certain symptoms. And so I was basically suffering. I suffered for like 5 days of whatever I had, only for like on the 6th day, on the evening of the 6th day, decide, why don't I just take some of this, and it'll help me with my symptoms and I won't be so miserable. So on the bright side, I've been able to take a couple days away from the office so that I could, not just spare my coworkers from, the ugliness that has become me being sick, and prevent them from catching my germs and whatnot. Able to stay home and take care of one of my kids who also has caught seemingly what I caught. So, but everything will be okay. And the other 2 kids are at risk. So, there is that possibility that my wife and I will be doing more tag teaming to take care of the kids, since they won't be able, if in case they can't get to school. So it's sort of like a health and family related chat moment. It sucks. And right now my go-to is sort of those Vicks NyQuil and DayQuil products. I picked up the liquid form last night and the capsule form for the DayQuil last night. And then this morning I realized that the DayQuil capsules had titanium dioxide, and if anybody knows, follows and listens to what I have to say here, or listens to what Vinny and Andy at Pure Vitamin Club have to say about titanium dioxide, you'll know what I'm talking about, how it's not good for you. And it's funny too, because I looked at the capsules for that DayQuil and it's bright orange. Just like they talk about the manufacturers of these capsules, and it's more like a caplet, right? It was a caplet. So it's a tablet in the form of a capsule. So it's bright orange, and what I've learned from Andy and Vinny is that titanium dioxide is used as a whitener to take out the color of everything, so that they can then make it whatever color else they want, and in this case to turn it orange, because like Vinny and Andy say, somehow the research has been done that the color orange on whether it's a vitamin or medication, it gives it that it's associated with taking something healthy, right? So maybe it has to do with orange and vitamin C. So, but I took that thing back in the following morning and exchanged it for the liquid form, which doesn't have that titanium dioxide. It's got other chemicals and garbage in it as well, but if I could just eliminate the titanium dioxide, I'll just have to accept all the other garbage that's in it, and feel like okay, I just kind of shifted a little bit. And what's bad with titanium dioxide? I don't have any documentation or studies or anything, but from what I've learned through Vinny and Andy is that it's not good. It's associated with colon cancer in certain amounts. And I'm not going to take a whole bunch. I wouldn't have taken a whole bunch of the DayQuil anyways, but why even take a little bit of it? It's the same stuff that's in paint. So that's a little health chat. again, still kind of coming off this bug, so not a whole lot of running happening. I am feeling a little bit more energetic. I've lost some of that lethargy. I can't explain the lethargy other than just, there are times where I thought, like, is this what it feels like when you've got, like, adrenal fatigue? I don't know what it was. But I'm getting some of that energy back, which is great, because as long as I have the energy, I can just kind of power through, the snot and the coughing and any of that stuff. So nothing new right now. It's we're at the end of the year. If I fit anything, it'll just have to be like solo runs, but nothing significant. More like lunchtime runs, and then just have to start making plans for the next year, and hopefully get that rolling. That's pretty much it. No updates from me on the NSNG community, just other than an update on that and related to abadamstudios.com. I've gotten more progress on a design project for Vinny, through abadamstudios.com. So pretty pleased there, and I hope that really comes to a really good project close, and I can start moving on to other things. It's exciting. I love it. And I can't wait to see that sort of effort show itself in the community for everyone to see. I can't, because it isn't my stuff. It basically isn't my stuff anymore. Once they get paid for it, I just have to wait for it to be publicized, and once it's made public, then I could just sort of like showcase some of that, like, oh, here it is now, and credit Vinny and Andy and the companies for it and stuff like that. So pretty cool. And yeah, I have to close it up here. Thanks again, everybody, for listening and sticking around. Hope you guys have a good day. Hope you guys have a great weekend. And I'll catch you on the next episode. And hopefully my voice will be back, and it won't be so awesome and sexy. And maybe I'll have a little update on a little bit of running or not. But it should be good. Man, I can't believe I went through this whole episode without taking a swig of this delicious coffee. But I just took care of that because I just got that swig. The end of the episode swig. What? So I guess I'll leave you with a quote. And I love this quote. It is a quote. I am not who you think I am. You are who you think I am. And I don't know who the quote is from, but maybe you can Google it and find out. But that was a quote shared by Stephanie. I won't give her last name. Stephanie, who's on the Ruel's Running podcast Facebook group. So it's a group that I have. If you are interested, check it out. Ruel's Running. Just look up Ruel's Running podcast. It's a closed group. Just has to be added, and I'll add you, and we can have fun there. All right, folks. It's a wrap. Remember, eat something delicious, hug your family, and go run something. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Ruel's Running Podcast with Ruel. If you like what you just heard, share it with your friends and your enemies. Also, be sure to check out the site over at ruelsrunning.com. This has been another Coffee with Heavy Cream production. Join us next time for another silly show of Ruel's Running Podcast.